Hi, kids, and welcome to the Backstage Slam episode number 192. I am one of your hosts, Josh, here to talk to you about all things wrestling related, or at least Money in the Bank. I think that's really the big thing to talk about this week. There were a few other news stories we'll get to in just a moment, but first, before we get into all of the, the breaking news and the actual discussions about what we're going to talk about tonight, let me go ahead and tell you that there are a few ways to reach out to us. The first, of course, is Twitter. You can reach me at SkidComic. You can reach Ben at YoBroMMO. And you can reach Anna at Catwoman. Hold on, I got this. Catwoman 13618 at Catwoman 13618. So that is everybody on the crew on Twitter. If you want to check out the website, it's BackstageSlam.com. Hopefully you are listening to us right there, right now. And if you want to take part in the conversation, just hit the audio player. It'll take you to Spreaker, and all you gotta do is really log in with Facebook, and you can start leaving comments during the show, and I will try to keep up with them as they come. Also, if you are feeling generous in spirit, then by all means go to our Patreon. That's Patreon, YoBroMMO, and for just $1 a month, you can receive the excellent gift of our eternal gratitude. There are other tiers coming as Ben works on the Patreon, and we try to figure out exactly what is it can we offer you to entice you to donate to our cause, to donate to us. We'll get there. We'll figure it out. But if you like my voice, and honestly, who doesn't? Oh, I couldn't even nail that. But if you like my voice, or at least like the things that I say, you can go to SimiCoreStudios.com, and that is the home of all of my podcasts, including the Wadcast, a writers, actors, and directors podcast, where we talk about the processes of doing those things. Plus, conversations with writers, actors, directors, and crew of various, skills and qualifications and whatnot. We have guests on there every once in a while. We do pretty good, I think, as far as pulling some quality guests to help entertain and educate. Well, with all that being said, I think that is all. Oh, wait. If you want to directly join the conversation 7 days a week, you can always go to the Discord. That's right, the Backstage Slam Discord at YoBroMMO. Just look it up. Join the club. Join the conversation. And you too could be a participant in our daily chats. Not audio or anything, just, text-based chats. But with all that being said, welcome to episode 192. I'm glad you're all here. Also, on tonight's show, you can't hear them right now because, they had to step away for various reasons. Anna and Amber will be joining the crew to talk about Money in the Bank in just a minute. Right now, I've got some news, stuff that I've heard going on, and let's get into it. First being Drew Gulak, who was just on SmackDown last night facing his protege, Daniel Bryan, was released from WWE today. Although, if I'm reading things correctly, he was not actually released. So, let's clear that up right now. Anna, I heard that you heard he got released.
Yeah, somebody posted about it on Facebook that They were basically giving up on WWE because they released it.
Well, here's the report I'm reading. He was not released. His contract expired, and they could not come to terms on a new contract.
That's a little bit different.
Yes, very much so. The biggest difference between being released and having your contract expire, the most obvious difference is Drew Gulak does not have a 90-day non-compete. He could show up on AEW tomorrow if he wanted to. So that's pretty much the biggest difference. If you are released, that means you have a 90-day non-compete, but you're also getting paid for the 90 days. So at least you're not, without an income or anything like that.
See, okay. I knew about the 90-day no compete thing, but I didn't know they got paid for that 90.
Yeah, their contract is basically ending early, so they're going to get paid for that 90 days. Because you can't take away somebody's livelihood and then not let them earn money for 90 days. So
I can see where that could cause some legal issues.
I mean, it's bad enough that there is a 90-day non-compete to begin with, because after all, they're independent contractors, right?
Right.
But no, let's scratch that. It's not bad enough that there's a 90-day non-compete. It's bad enough that they have to be exclusive to any company at all. So, naturally, 90-day no-compete kind of sucks if you're actually wanting to work. But
yeah,
if you're willing to, do it, if you're willing to sign your name on the dotted line, you got to play by the rules that they gave you. Also, what we learned this week is there's this guy. His name's The Undertaker. Have you heard about him?
I think twice.
Well, according to, good old Uncle Dave, last year, The Undertaker signed a 15-year contract. Last year, let me repeat this. Last year, The Undertaker signed a new 15-year contract.
That's insane.
That would put him close to 70 years old by the time it...
I was going to say, he's up there, isn't
he? He's not by any means an old man, and he's in his 50s, but he's not getting any younger, and I haven't watched any of the Undertaker special, but I'm actually really looking forward to checking it out when I get a chance.
I'm waiting for all 5 parts to come out, though.
Yeah, in today's society, we're more like a binge people. That's what we've really turned into. But what do you think The Undertaker could be doing in 10 years with WWE?
Anything, really?
Yeah, what do you think he'll be doing in 10 years with the company? I mean, if he's under contract for 15, that means he's got to be doing something in 10, right?
Yeah, it could be backstage. I can't really see him on as a commentator, but...
Do you think because the Boneyard match did so well, they could have just found The Undertaker's new shtick, basically, that they found a way to make him look like $1 million, and we are going to get years of that rather than straight up in-ring competition?
I think it would be pretty cool to keep him on like that. I mean, hell, the dude cut himself and kept going. I mean, I don't think he can do what he used to do, but it's a way to keep him around where it's not as grueling and, hard on him physically. I would be okay with that.
Okay. Moving on, I don't have the updated bracket for the IC Title Tournament. Don't suppose you, by any chance, have that memorized off the top of your head?
Daniel Bryan beat Drew Gulak. Elias beat King Corbin. And the other match is Shinsuke and AJ and Jeff Hardy and Sheamus.
All right, let's do a little bit of speculation here. Who do you think's going to win out of Jeff Hardy and Sheamus?
Jeff Hardy looks so rough. Can't really say that. That's Money in the Bank stuff. But I'd like to say Jeff, but I think it might be Sheamus because it's a little too early in Jeff's run to give him a push for a title right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with Sheamus.
Okay, what about AJ and Shinsuke? Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Shinsuke, which, whatever it is. It's probably going to be AJ, but I'm going to go with Shinsuke.
Okay, good choices. I'd probably go with Jeff and AJ, not because, Sheamus or Shinsuke are undeserving by any means, but Jeff, apparently he's in line to win some matches, and I don't know, Shinsuke does not seem to be the firebrand that I was hoping he was going to be when he signed with WWE those years ago.
He's kind of fizzled, which is kind of sad.
It's incredibly sad. And I don't care for it, to be honest with you.
No, I really don't either. Wasn't he one of, Sami Zayn's lackeys or something? Part of some little mini stable or whatever?
Shinsuke?
Yeah, wasn't he a part of a group not too long ago?
Oh, you mean, I don't remember what they were called, but it was Sheamus, Shinsuke, and Cesaro? I want to say.
Oh, maybe that was it.
I don't remember. It's been a struggle watching some of this stuff recently, and I gotta be honest, sometimes I feel like I'm only half awake when I'm watching WWE anymore. With, of course, the exceptions being NXT and AEW. Well, I guess the only thing left to do is really get into the discussion that everybody wants to hear, and that's our opinion on Money in the Bank. So, I got the card in front of me. Let's start from the beginning. Jeff Hardy took on Cesaro in a match that lasted 13 and a half. Jeff Hardy took home the win. Any thoughts?
He was rough in that match. I figured they were gonna have him be the winner since you can't really have him lose in his big comeback match, but he was pretty rough. And it seemed like the match lasted a little too long.
13:30, too long. Wow. I guess I could see that if the tempo was kind of dragging at points. I picked Cesaro to win. I thought maybe it's Cesaro's time. Maybe it's his time, but nope.
I love Cesaro, and I would have been okay with him winning. Just I didn't see it happening being a Jeff in a comeback match.
Well, moving on from that, the New Day took on the Forgotten Sons, Miz and John Morrison, and Lucha House Party to defend their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I picked the Forgotten Sons in our pay-per-view predictions game, which you can see over at the Yobro MMO Discord group. New season starts SummerSlam, so start getting ready to sign up for the next season. But I picked the Forgotten Sons to become the new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions, going against my boys, the New Day. And I regret it. I admit right now I regret it. I want to personally apologize to Xavier Woods, Big E, and Kofi Kingston for ever doubting my boys, because quite frankly, I thought too hard about this. Gut instinct was always pick your boys. Ben, if Ben was here, I hope he feels better soon. Get better, Ben. But if he was here, he would tell everybody that I never pick against my boys, just like I never pick against my ladies. I did the unthinkable, and I picked the Forgotten Sons. But in my defense, I started thinking, how are the New Day going to be 9-time tag team champions if they don't lose the titles? So I thought maybe the Forgotten Sons, they pick up a title victory here. They, have a nice little run, establish themselves. And then, of course, afterwards, I remembered the unspoken rule. And I'm not talking about the Vince McMahon rule that he apparently has about the non-legal man being able to touch somebody. I don't know. It was weird hearing that Vince has this rule that he once followed for tag matches. Anyway, I overthought it, and I got it wrong. And I'm sorry. Anna, what'd you think about the match?
Shame on you, Josh.
Thank you, Amber. Yes, shame on you.
Shame on me.
Yes, shame on you. I'm fairly certain that I went with the New Day in the prediction, because you never go against the boys. Ever. Just, you don't do it, Josh. I thought the match was interesting. I was a little confused as to who was actually legal on occasion, but...
Yeah, it was one of those matches where anybody could tag anybody, and, I've seen some places pull it off really well. There was a match, I want to say it was last year, Ring of Honor. I don't remember. It might have been the Best Friends. I don't remember who was in it, but there was a point in which the tag team partners were actually tagged into the match against each other.
How does that work?
Well, here's the thing. One of them started, leaning back a little bit, just leaning back, and eventually they were laying on the canvas, and the partner just went and pinned him. But everybody broke it up. But I need to find the video of that. It was pretty cool. I'll share it on my Twitter, or maybe I'll post it on the BackstageSlam.com or BackstageSlam.com. Amber, what'd you think about the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match?
I'm still. Was it the Lucha House Party that got pinned by Kofi or Big E? Like, who
Yeah.
the heck took the pin? Because I was reading that it was supposed to be the Miz taking the pin to create heat between him and Morrison so that Morrison could go the singles route. Because everybody knows that he's carrying the Miz.
Absolutely.
So I was kind of confused because that's what the, rumor had posed, was that the Miz was going to take another pin since as of late with the championship anyway. But I'm pretty sure it was one of the house party members that took the pin, so it didn't add up to where they're going to create the split for them. But yeah, shame on you, Josh. Shame on you.
Y'all aren't gonna let me live this down, are you?
No.
And unfortunately, I can't even say it's unfair. The New Day picked up the win after 12 minutes in what could be called one of the better matches of the night. And speaking of matches, this almost was one. In the pay-per-view prediction league, we went with what was advertised. R-Truth versus MVP. But that's not what the match is that we got. They swerved us at the last second, and I guess we should have seen this coming after rumors of MVP starting a stable started kicking around. But instead of R-Truth versus MVP, in what started off as a pretty funny segment when they were, basically doing, I guess, a Bala competition. And I was enjoying it. I thought it was R-Truth doing what R-Truth does and entertaining the fans. Even though I have to say his entrance right now is a little... It's got a little bit to be desired, to be perfectly frank. There's no audience, so the whole playing towards the audience, it feels really weird. Does anybody else get that vibe that R-Truth going, "What's up?" and waiting for the audience to come back with "What's up"? Is anybody else finding that
weird.
odd?
It was a little uncomfortable. It kind of felt like he was just not getting any response from the crowd rather than there just not being a crowd.
That's because the commentators suck and they were supposed to do the what's up for them.
Yeah, I can definitely say a little help from the commentary team would have been appreciated. Also, if they wanted to go the way of, I don't know, just go all the way with it and have R-Truth just start saying things like, "Wow, you guys are quiet tonight," something like that. And MVP could be the foil and say, "There's nobody here, man." And R-Truth's like, "What? Really?" And it's like the lights are bright.
That would have been in vain with Truth, actually. Just being completely clueless.
Yeah, I think it would have made the whole entrance with no crowd reaction, even though he seemed to be looking for one.
Yeah.
It would have made a little more sense. But that's neither here nor there, and you know what else was neither here nor there than that match with MVP? Because Bobby Lashley comes out and says, "Don't worry, man, I got this, take the night off." And, of course, R-Truth instantly says, "Cool," and starts to leave the ring. Again, funny spot. I really enjoyed it. But Bobby Lashley stops him, and R-Truth's like, "How come he gets the night off and I don't get the night off?" At which point, Bobby Lashley, basically subs himself in for MVP. The bell rings, and 90 seconds later, the match is over.
truth is leveled like Bobby Lashley was a Mack truck. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd ask for your thoughts on the match, but let's face it, there really wasn't one. So, were you entertained by the segment?
I was entertained by the segment, and I think it would have been better if there would have actually been a match between MVP and R-Truth and not just complete squash.
Amber?
Segment was awesome. I'm also glad that Bobby Lashley interrupted because I did not know that this match was happening. So it was not on my predictions league, which means I would have lost a point. But everybody else that picked MVP and R-Truth did not get a point because, hey, so there. So I don't have to worry about not getting a point or losing a point. But also, I understand why they're doing it. Because if they're going to make Bobby Lashley into the big squasher that he is, he's going to have the squash matches if they're going to actually have Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam.
So you think they're going Brock and Bobby at SummerSlam?
I do. I think that's why he's been going on his little terror as of late, and also questioning his alliance with Lana and the whole, when are you going to start fighting, or whatever the hell MVP told him. And he seemed to be realizing that he hasn't been reaching his potential, and he's been having the squash matches, so I totally think that's what they're going to do.
Okay, fair enough. We'll have a lot of time to talk about that in the future because SummerSlam is, 3 months away?
It's in what, August? July?
I would say August. All right, next up, Bayley took on Tamina for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. 10.5 minutes, and Bayley wins. Clean pin. Center of the ring.
Except for with extreme difficulty.
Yeah, that roll up was a little on the slow side, but it happened nonetheless. But what did you think about all the moments that led up to it, Amber?
Well, we all knew Tamina wasn't going to actually win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Maybe one of these days she'll get a run. Who knows? But the water in the face was, I don't know, I was like, that was kind of unnecessary. But I don't know. I was expecting the backstabbing feud stuff to actually start at this pay-per-view, and it didn't, and so it kind of bummed me out because I was hoping that they were going to start cutting at the fibers that tie, and her interference, it's just, it was unnecessary. If they were going to have it be a clean pin, then why have her interfere anyway?
That's a good question. Anna, do you have an answer for that?
I kind of thought the same thing as far as the whole Sasha was going to try and interfere and it would end up costing Bayley the title. But I didn't get what I wanted again.
Which was?
I wanted Tamina to win. She was my prediction. It's totally time for Tamina to have something.
No. Tamina's not going to win. Not.
Why?
Because. Okay. Why? Because there's no reason for her to win anything?
That's horrible.
Yeah,
Josh,
but
be
it's. I'm not knocking her ability, of which she does have some. But.
I mean, I give Bayley props on trying to pick Tamina up.
You know, at the end of the day, it's honestly, okay, there are three people here right now.
Transitional champion. That's what she could have been
you got to have
to
somebody
make the feud go.
transition to at some point. And
Right.
right now,
So she
SmackDown
starts the
doesn't really
feud.
have that.
She makes Bailey lose the title. Well, Banks makes her lose the title. Tamina takes it for, 1.5, maybe 2 pay-per-views. And then it's a triple threat at SummerSlam.
But at that point, you have a champion that
There's
the
no
majority
audience.
of people
So
don't
nobody's
care
cheering.
about.
So it's an okay time for her to take it. There's nobody cheering or booing at her. So now's a good time.
That's a very fair point.
That's all I'm saying, is that there's not an audience for Vince to take the heat, right? It's going to be online stuff, and he doesn't really care about online stuff. He cares about the pop and the booze and all that good stuff. Well, there isn't any of the going on. So now would be a perfect time for her to have it, because it's just crickets.
Now is the time to write your own narrative. Tell people what you want them to feel.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I mean, it would give people a boost. Like bigger girls. It sounds horrible no matter what way I say it.
You said something about bigger girls?
Big girls can win too.
Thank you. And especially now with everybody
Naya's been
stuck
doing
in the
it.
house and
Big
self-esteem
girls that
and
aren't pretty with big boobs.
I
Okay.
think Tamina's pretty.
I'm just trying to, get the
Trying to help
point
me
where
out.
it's like the typical, you have the same
Yeah.
type of champion in the women's division. Naya has been the exception. How many bigger champions can you list off, Josh, in the
Karma?
women's division? How long did that last?
I don't remember. She
About a week before she found out she was pregnant and left. So next,
Beth Phoenix,
she has big boobs. Next,
China.
she has big boobs, big muscles, and tight pants. Next,
Well, I've already named a handful of people.
but they
Yes,
all
but-
have something in common.
They are women.
With big boobs, who people
They're
find
not the
slightly
heavier
attractive.
women.
Yes, they find them more attractive. So it's going off the narrative of like only attractive. Look, go Divas champion, right? You had the same mold of champion until Paige, pale, skinny, no big boobs. That kicked off the revolution, right? So
Yeah.
it's going outside of the mold of what is typical for WWE and even WWF and Vince McMahon for the women's division. Go outside of the mold for a little while. How long did these women that didn't fit the mold retain the championship? Not very long. That's all I want. A little while where it's not your stereotypical champion. Even if it's a pay-per-view and a half. At least it goes in the record books.
Would Natty
it
fit
gives-
under that mold?
I think she's cute. And she's got boobs. And she wears tight pants.
Natty?
Mm-hmm.
Natty is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Wacky as shit, but she's adorable.
So I'm just wondering how I, especially as a male in this situation, can honestly say that to prove you wrong, I have to name ugly people.
It's truth, though, Josh. Have you named an ugly person?
I don't like to call people ugly.
See, that's my point. You're being nice. We are being truthful.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay,
difference.
from your two
Naya,
perspective.
Tamina, Karma, they're all beautiful, but they're not your stereotypical female superstar.
Okay, what is
Natty,
the
Beth are
stereotypical
all
female
bigger, but they're
superstar?
not. Damn Barbie doll.
Trish Stratus, Lita, Charlotte
Lita,
Flair.
really?
Yes, people who are willing to get boob jobs, people who are willing to do sex scenes in the middle of the ring.
Would you say Becky Lynch falls into this mold?
Becky Lynch is attractive, but she's different.
Yeah.
Her personality, right? So this is the whole the man persona. She is trying to break that mold, but she's also a woman and she's beautiful, and people find her attractive. The reason I'm saying the mold is the attractiveness. She's eye pleasing, and she fits the stereotype of like women that, in order to be a champion, you need to have the sex appeal. People need to find you attractive.
Okay, it's an interesting perspective. Now, tell me, I know neither one of you are really, we'll say historians when it comes to NXT, but have you seen Charlotte in NXT back in the day?
Before the boob
No.
job? When she
Yeah.
didn't have much confidence.
Right.
Briefly, she was shown. Her NXT days have been briefly shown on Total Divas. So I've seen a little bit here and there.
So I think the thing with her NXT days and kind of where she was still building was that she actually didn't want her dad's like influence and managerialness, because it started to affect her. But when she first started, she was a bigger girl who had the athletic ability. I mean, volleyball players are bigger as far as height and build wise, and they're very athletic. But her problem is she lacked confidence. And I think, if I remember right, it was Arn Anderson that told her that Sasha Banks was better than her during NXT, and like sat her down and was like, "You don't have any confidence in yourself, in your ability," and that also makes a champion. Like, you have to be able to be confident. That's part of attraction, that's part of her persona. That's been a champion, whether face or heel. They have confidence. She didn't have it when she started.
No.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
No.
She really didn't.
And you can look it up, because I'm pretty sure it was Arn Anderson that told her that Sasha Banks was better than her. And
wouldn't surprise me.
That from what I remember, and you're right, I'm not an NXT historian, but I have done my research a bit. That destroyed her on a different level, because he's like family. But it also finally gave her the wake up that she needed, that in order for her to step out of her dad's shadow and to create her own self, she needed to get her own self-confidence and self-worth.
Okay. Now, would you say, though, appearance-wise, when she was originally NXT, did she match the mold?
She's attractive.
But did she match the mold?
Blonde hair, blue eyes, attractive, athletic. She didn't have the boobs at that point, but she had the presence.
There are a few things she didn't have when he started, other than the boobs. One, of course.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. What about Ruby Riott?
Yeah, what about her?
Why isn't she champion? Why isn't she on TV? Why
I
isn't
love
she?
Ruby.
Why isn't she more pushed? I mean, I can go into NXT if you'd like. There are a few people who. You'll have to give me a minute. I'll have to think of their names because their names don't easily pop into my brain. Their women's division, but she's not. I mean, she's got the side shaved hair, like tattoos. She's not your stereotypical woman. But how
Neither's
quickly?
Rhea.
There you go. How quickly people were like, "Oh my God, the Iconics are back on! They're really sexy. Look at them, woohoo!" Because they're like the mold, right? But what about like people who don't fit that mold? Is what I'm saying, Josh. It's the sex appeal, and you know it because it's come out of Vince's mouth. You gotta have sex appeal.
Quite honestly, none of the Riot Squad actually fit the mold.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think
Sarah definitely didn't.
Liv Morgan fit the mold?
She could have.
Yeah, she could have, but not really. I mean, she's cute, but not really, no.
Wow, that's interesting to me. Again, pretty girl, blonde hair.
Personality's not there.
Actually, not on screen, no, but I was watching things on the network, and she actually has one hell of a personality. I'd love to hang out with her.
Okay.
And she can drive.
And what about personality-wise for the Iconics? You brought up the Iconics.
Dude, I think they lack personality. I'm sorry, Josh. They do. Like and their voices kind of bug me. Their promos, I don't like them. They're kind of
They're
like
obnoxious as hell.
Thank you. That's what I was searching for.
Like, I'm sure they're great,
the point.
but they're obnoxious.
Yes.
They have the sex appeal.
You can be obnoxious and be great. They're over the top obnoxious to the point where I want to stuff them in a locker.
They're nauseous.
Obnoxious. And that makes them great.
No, that makes them nauseous. It makes
me
mute my TV.
Want to stuff them in a locker.
So yeah, that means they're great.
Okay, well, yes, in that sense, if that's what they're going for, then fine, but...
And if you really want to do yourself a favor, look up their story. You know, two friends from Down Under that came up through NXT together and got called up together and have spent basically their entire careers together.
Dude, I'm not knocking
doing their damn thing. It's a pretty good story.
No, I'm not
knocking
them either. They get on my nerves if they're on screen too long.
The squeal.
And I love their accents.
The squeal, it hurts my ears.
Uh-huh.
It hits a level even my blown eardrums can't handle.
Okay. We might have spent a little too much time talking about this. How about next week we come out with our own top 10 lists when it comes to the women of the WWE.
Oh,
current women or
any?
Should it be current or should it be top 10? Or why not have two lists? One top 10 current, one top 10 of all time.
You're giving us homework, Josh.
Yep.
Oh, I think my lists are going to be the same. Because technically, Mickie James is still part of the WWE, even though she hasn't renewed her contract.
So I look forward to this, and I hope everybody listening is looking forward to this too. Ben, if you're listening and you are going to be here next week, you have homework too, unless you just want to moderate us. And
don't kill Josh. It's our fault. You know, her and I together, we bully him.
It's true.
He likes it.
It's also true. Next up, Braun Strowman took on Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. Braun Strowman defending the title against his former mentor and father figure, maybe? You know, the family. So, Braun Strowman defeated Bray Wyatt and just cleanly beat him. No shenanigans, no... Well, puppets ringside, but...
That was a little weird. I don't know what that was all about. I guess the Firefly Funhouse decided to come play too?
Yeah, essentially, they were cheering for Braun to rejoin the family.
Okay.
So any thoughts on this match that lasted almost 11 minutes?
I personally loved the fact that Braun flipped the tables on Bray and got in his head.
But of course, that means The Fiend is going to come out to play at Backlash.
And I think if anybody can beat The Fiend, it'll be Braun. I don't want to see him
Just
go
like
back
it was
to the whole Wyatt family nonsense.
when Goldberg did it, which was nonsense.
Well, yeah.
And, you know, we're not going to go back into that discussion about WrestleMania. I don't remember what episode number it is, people, but we did a whole thing about all of this a little while back. So check out the archives. Just go to BackstageSlam.com, hit the Spreaker audio thing, and check out the back catalog and find out where we were talking about Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt. But right now, Braun Strowman beats Bray Wyatt. He retains the championship. Going into Backlash, he's going to be facing The Fiend. This whole episode, this whole thing was... I mean, I will say it was interesting, especially we got, you know, Firefly Funhouse, Bray Wyatt did his happy smiles and everything like that. I believe at one point before the match, he's like, I'm scared, and that's a good thing, or something like that. And he's offering up the mask, the Black Sheep mask to Braun, and Braun plays along for a little while, and, you know, almost, I guess, takes it. Maybe, I don't know how serious that was supposed to be. Was he falling under Bray's spell, or was he just kind of messing around with him the whole time? I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, Braun took the mask, and then he, you know, stomped it under his foot, and Bray's, like, trying to warn him, specifically, don't do that, you're going to make him angry, you know, the Fiend's going to come out, blah, 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 not in so many words, but yes, he was warning Braun about the Fiend and, you know, making him mad. But Braun did what Braun does and put Bray down for the count to retain. Would you have done anything differently, Anna?
I would have left the puppets at home. Because they seriously creep me out. But other than that, I was happy with it.
How about you, Amber?
It wasn't bad. I think that the Rabbit should win the Intercontinental Championship because he keeps dying and keeps coming back. So I think that's who it should go to. But also that, I'm interested to see how it plays out going into Backlash.
Hopefully we'll see some really interesting TV. I did not catch SmackDown this week. It is still on my to-watch list. But we're going to go ahead and jump into a match that I know Anna's probably dying to talk about, because last week when Ben and I were going over the card, I called this match Seth Rollins versus The Tree, and we all know why that is.
Shout, Josh.
As Drew McIntyre defends the WWE Championship against Seth Monday Night Messiah Rollins, and retains in a convincing manner at a match just shy of 20 minutes. Amber, what did you think of the championship match?
It was bad. I hope that this means he's going to drop his gimmick. Who knows? I'll let her talk more about her boyfriend, The Tree.
All right. Amber is giving her time to Anna to talk about The Tree and the climbing she's going to do. Go ahead, Anna.
I kind of hate you both right now. I'm really hoping that Seth drops his gimmick. I know Monday night he made some, I don't know, quote unquote, I don't know what happened out there attacks, but I really want the whole Monday Night Messiah thing to go away. But I give Drew a whole lot of credit for, the end of the match, shaking Seth's hand and all that. Because it just... And Drew won.
And Drew won.
That was my prediction. Point for me, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure how many people thought Seth Rollins would win. But... okay.
It doesn't look like anybody picked Seth in the... Nope.
Yeah, I expect Drew to be carrying the championship for a good while.
And I think he should. Not just because, the whole Tree thing, but he's deserved it for so long.
Right. And
he's going to be a good fighting champion from the way they're portraying it. Like, it's not going to be like Seth Rollins over and over again.
Or like Brock Lesnar, who's around 3 times a year to defend it.
No.
That's part of his contract.
Yeah.
That's part of his contract.
Then he shouldn't have gotten it at all, because that's lame and boring and blah.
I know, but I have to stick up for the Twitter folks who that was their only answer to why Sami Zayn got stripped and why Brock Lesnar didn't with the 30 days no compete, whatever. It's because it's in his contract.
30-day no compete clause only applies to those who
aren't Brock Lesnar.
who can't compete for 30 days, not those who aren't scheduled to compete for 30 days.
But like I said, the people that I saw responding just repeatedly said, it's in his contract, it's in his contract, it's in his contract. I, however, agree that it was kind of lame that he only had to come out occasionally, have his mouthpiece say something, and then occasionally fight. So I agree. It was kind of lame to have him as a champion for that long.
Yeah.
No doubt. Okay, it's time. It's time, ladies, to talk about the match that... honestly, Money in the Bank always steals the show, but it doesn't usually do it with a mask on and a gun. Money in the Bank just robbed this pay-per-view of any and all attention. Who won those matches before? I don't remember. Why? Because the next 25 minutes was absolutely insane. I believe at one point I said on Twitter, it seems like the WWE fired the creative that did the Boneyard match and hired the guys that did Sharknado.
I actually enjoyed Sharknado, so...
Hey.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. This... where do you begin? The Money in the Bank ladder match, first of all, there were two going concurrently.
It was so confusing that way. I'm not going to lie, because I was like, what in the hell is going on?
I thought it was interesting to see the guys and the girls kind of like both interacting. Especially during that food fight. That was great.
We're going to get there. We're going to...
It was hard to follow, because when they started like with the ladies and they're waiting for the elevator, and then all of a sudden it flips to the weight room, and you're trying to like figure out where everyone's at. At some point in time, Shayna Baszler just disappeared entirely.
She got leveled by 3 people, one right after the other, and never made it.
Right, but then like, you know what? Like it.
All right, hold on. Let's slow our roll here, because we're going to talk about this in depth. Okay, first, the women entered by the elevators in the main hall, while the guys showed up at the gym.
Asuka, oh my god. Should have expected it for her to come out of nowhere. But that was freaking awesome. That floor had to hurt like hell.
Asuka appeared on the second floor balcony and dove onto the women. Is what Ann is referring to.
Sweet spot. It was awesome.
And after that, she headed straight to the elevator, at which point you should think, oh, well, the women's match is pretty much over. Well, if you thought that, as I did, you would be wrong. Because apparently the elevators in WWE headquarters are very, very, very slow.
You have to stop at every floor.
I was pretty sure that was part of the rules, that you had to stop. There was something that had to happen on each floor for you to be able to go to the next one.
It still doesn't explain how slow this was.
This is true. That was a
They had to get to the floor so that Dana Brooke could cry.
Okay, the men had just straight up brawled in the gym, and at some point Baron Corbin picks up a weight and throws it, and it hits a mirror, and he has this, like, pardon the pun, shattered look on his face, like, oh my god, like, uh-oh. And he just stood there stunned.
I couldn't figure out if that was, oh crap, I just destroyed company property, or oh crap, that's 7 years bad luck.
I was thinking the same thing. Is he now going to be Bad Luck Corbin?
Or, oh shit, I gotta pay for that.
Then the men ran out of the gym into the hallway where...
You're forgetting the best part of the gym, besides Corbin.
There we go. Let her have it. Go ahead.
Okay, what was the best part in the gym?
AJ getting pinned by
right.
Otis with the friggin' barbell.
And Ray that's local.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Ray wasn't going to be able to lift that even if he wanted to.
Which is when they cut to everybody running down the hall, and Ray, again, being the focus on this, stopping by the bathroom and seeing none other than Brother Love coming out of the stall, saying, I
nuts, dude.
love you. What did Ray say? Anybody?
I love you too,
I
brother.
don't.
Something like that.
I love you too, but
not right
I gotta
now.
go.
Yeah.
That was
And
great.
and we also saw a brief appearance by Doink the Clown. Hiding
That was
in a
not
corner.
Doink the Clown. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was not Doink. The makeup was wrong.
And if I remember right, the original Doink the Clown is dead.
Well, there's been like 5 of them.
Well, the last 4 overdosed.
At the same time,
It's possible.
the women were fighting in the conference room. Dana Brooke grabbed a briefcase. Why the hell was there a briefcase full of money just randomly in a conference room?
It was the Money in the Bank conference room. Steph said that.
But it was a briefcase full of money suspended above
Yeah,
the
I
conference
know.
table. And
Dude,
I
Because the contract's worth a lot of money? I don't know.
I thought for a second, oh, is this some sort of secondary prize that if you go straight for this, that you can just leave the match and have the cash? Nope.
I would have went
Because-
for that.
Who showed up but Stephanie McMahon? And
What are you doing?
yeah, basically, what are you doing, Dana? The briefcase is on the roof. Yeah. I don't get
Steph's
it.
got jokes. I give her credit. She's got jokes.
And then Carmella grabbed her own poster and smashed Dana over the head with it.
That was classic.
After that, AJ Styles is walking down the hall and sees an Undertaker poster and is like, ooh, spooky. He's apparently really scared of images of the Undertaker now, which is really unfortunate because he walked into a blue room with a casket, of course, the Undertaker's stick, and Aleister Black kicked AJ and shut the door, leaving AJ, I guess, to panic and try to figure out how to get out of a room with an unlocked door.
It's such an Alistair move, though. I mean, it would have been better if he would have stuffed him in the casket, but
You know, time constraints.
I know.
All right. Our next cameo comes from Paul Heyman, who is sitting down to eat a nice dinner.
Wait, isn't it Power to the People first?
That was afterwards.
Okay, you might be right.
So Paul Heyman, he's preparing to eat. For some reason, he's at WWE headquarters on a Sunday night during a pay-per-view, just raiding the cafeteria, I guess. And that's when both the men and the women showed up, and we get a lot of awkward, close-ups and two shots of everybody kind of eyeballing each other and nobody doing anything except Otis, who in his first shining moment of the night says, well, I guess you could say dropping that weight on AJ Styles was a good shining moment for him.
Absolutely.
But this one was a really memorable moment because he pulls an Animal House and says, well, he yells food fight. And at that point, nobody does anything. Nobody does anything. Just everyone's kind of just still looking, and Paul Heyman's like, got this look on his face like, what? And then, like, a good 10 seconds later, that's when the food starts flying. And yeah.
I think that's the quietest I've ever seen Paul Heyman.
It's weird. I don't know what to say. It was just weird. The time called from food fight to the time the actual food fight started there was a good pause.
You're being overcritical, Josh, of the food fight. Be nice.
Yeah, I thought
I
it was great.
was. I didn't say it was bad. I just said the length between calling the food fight and the beginning of the food fight was pretty long and awkward.
They couldn't decide who was going to throw the first bit of food.
Exactly.
Well, as it was mentioned a moment ago, the food fight happens, and they're heading out of there, and who pulls up?
Johnny.
And says...
People power!
Which is when Otis smashes a pie into his face.
I love Otis.
If you are hearing my interpretation of this and going, that is absolutely bonkers so far, well, that means you're actually paying attention, because it is. And if you haven't seen it, yeah, give it a shot. Dana slips in the janitor's room and basically concusses herself.
That janitor was somebody's son. I saw it earlier, but I can't remember who it was.
And Lacey finally finds the stairs.
That poor girl.
Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles are fighting, and they land in an office. Not just anybody's office, but Vince McMahon's office. And not only is it Vince McMahon's office, but Vince McMahon is in his office.
That's just bad freaking luck.
And Vince just says, "Out!" And they start putting things back. And AJ's like, "Oh, let me push this chair back in for you." And Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles leave the room, and they're like, "Whew, yeah, that was a close one." And basically call each other names. And Daniel Bryan's like, "Oh, you're the one that was like, let me put your chair back in for you."
It was great. I had said just before that, I'm like, it would be hilarious if they ended up fighting in Vince's office. Surprise.
All right, next up, Nia and Asuka wound up in the ring first. Like I said, Asuka just got to the roof. She took the elevator before everybody, and they still kind of wound up on the roof at the same time. But Nia and Asuka...
Wasn't she on the other? Wasn't she there for the food fight and stuff though too?
Yeah. She got off the elevator at some point. But the fact of the matter is, the fights and her elevator ride were pretty much parallel. It was weird how slow that elevator went. But Nia tries to climb the ladder. Asuka stops her. Corbin shows up and for some reason tries to stop Asuka.
Because he's an idiot?
What? This made no sense to me. Why didn't he just grab the men's briefcase, let her grab the women's briefcase? Both matches over.
You just got to throw a couple people off the roof first.
Asuka grabs the briefcase to win the women's Money in the Bank. Men's match continues. Otis hits the caterpillar on Corbin, and then he gets taken out with the Black Mass. Corbin murders Mysterio and Aleister Black by throwing them off the roof. Just straight up murders them. No follow-up that night. Just,
No.
They were thrown off the roof. They're dead. So Corbin's going up the ladder, and Elias comes out and nails him with a guitar. Styles is up there. He grabs the briefcase. But because all of this chicanery is going on, he can't hold on to it. He drops it before he has a firm grip on it, and it lands in the hands of Otis.
I thought it was fantastic.
Of all the people in that match, this is like the absolute last outcome I saw coming. I did not see this coming at all. And before we get into our thoughts about the match as a whole, oh man, this outcome was unexpected to say the least. So, Asuka wins the women's match. Otis wins the men's match. You know what, Amber, you go first. As a whole, how did you feel about Money in the Bank?
As a whole?
Yeah, as the whole segment of the Money in the Bank ladder match.
I'd give it a B.
All right, Anna, as a whole, the Money in the Bank segment.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a few more floors and, shenanigans and whatnot, but I'd say it was a B. B plus, maybe.
It took me a long time to figure out how I feel about this, because when it first happened, I was just absolutely shocked. Mostly from the result at the end, but a lot of it had to do with the production involved and the very, very, and I think I can say this from somewhat of an authoritative position, the very poor writing. But you get to a point in something like this where you realize the poorness, the lack of skill involved in this was very much intentional, and actually, some could argue, takes more skill to show a lack of skill. And I'm just going to go with that just so I can tell myself I enjoyed it.
Well, you should have enjoyed it, Josh, honestly, because, I mean, they didn't have, like, the protection of the ring, per se. They had concrete and tile, and the way they went about it was actually pretty safe, aside from, getting thrown off the roof.
We'll get to that in just a second, because we're going to toss it over to Monday Night Raw for just a second before we close out. Overall, I'd say we're looking at C+ territory. There were things that I think could have been done a little bit differently, but mostly nitpicky stuff. I don't think it would have gone past a B, because we do have quite a awesome history of Money in the Bank, and I don't think it was going to be any of the all-time greatest Money in the Bank matches ever. So I'd say the cap itself was going to be a B, and it didn't live to its full potential, but it got pretty close, so I gave it a C+. Whew, that was Money in the Bank, the show. Before we head out of here, there are two things from Monday Night Raw I want to address. The first being that turns out Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio are not actually dead.
It was like a 6-foot drop or something.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio said it was like a miracle. The only side of the building where there's another roof, and it's only like a 6-foot drop. We were fine. We were about to get back into the fight, and we just couldn't do it.
Well, I did see a comment. Somebody is like, "Is Mysterio dead?" And it's like, dude, it was like a 6-foot drop. He's like, yeah, but a 6-foot drop is like death for Rey Mysterio. And I'm like, dude, that was harsh.
Needlessly so, too.
He could not climb back up. He was not tall enough to reach the ledge to pull himself
Well, he
back
had
over.
Alistair. Alistair could have given him a boost at least, but Alistair didn't come back up either.
It's because he had to use his little ghost thing on Twitter.
Wait, what? Was he seriously sitting on another roof tweeting?
I swear to God, it was like pretty close after he did the little
God,
sheet.
you know, that wouldn't
mummy
surprise
thing.
me, honestly. Can I add one more thing about the Money in the Bank match, though?
Sure.
I was perfect. My choice was either Nia or Lacey, both being moms. I was perfectly okay with Asuka getting the briefcase after she slapped the shit out of Corbin. That like made my night right under Otis winning. That was hilarious.
And you also forgot the whole Vince's rule about ladder matches and having a hard time, making your way up it. Like somehow your legs stop working once you get there.
Yeah, I've never like scramble up the ladder and we're like going slow. It's like, why are we going so slow? Stop it.
Someone needs to do a sketch about WWE guys or girls, whatever. They start their own paint company, right? They're painting houses, and they're setting up the paint. Everything's fine. And then when they have to go up the ladder, it's like, ugh. And they just go one rung at a time for like 5 minutes to get up to the top and start painting. I think it would be funny.
Like, I get it's supposed to be the suspense or whatever excuse he has for them not being able to climb a ladder like a normal person. I wish it wouldn't carry over to the game.
Except for, do you remember that, was it a TLC or a Money in the Bank, Josh, when Jeff Hardy, like, basically ran up that bitch and did, like, a backflip off of it? Was that when he busted Eminem's dude's nose and shattered it on the ladder?
And that would be TLC.
That somehow does not surprise me.
Like, he ran up that bitch. Oh, sorry, we're supposed to be PG. 13.
I might have dropped a few words tonight, too. My bad, Josh.
Well, just do better. Do better.
Sorry.
The other big announcement on Monday night was, of course, Becky Lynch has relinquished the WWE Raw Women's Championship, and because Asuka was the Money in the Bank winner, she was able to just automatically become the Raw Women's Champion. And I thought it was done very well, this handoff, and it was started as a segment, the first segment, and Becky doesn't say why she's unable to continue as champion until the very end, when she tells Asuka, you go be a warrior, I'm gonna go be a mom. And it's like, whoa.
Asuka just lost crap on that, too.
Yeah, big news. They kept it very hush-hush from what I hear, and wanted to make it, as close to a genuine moment as possible.
I mean, Asuka did look super upset that Becky had her briefcase.
I'm not sure how much Asuka knew going into the segment.
From what I've been reading, she didn't know anything.
The only thing I've read is that she knew she was going to get the championship. And that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand Becky's reasoning, for and why Asuka won Money in the Bank. Like, she was really the only one that Becky couldn't beat.
Yeah. Very well likely. So I think I'm safe in speaking for everybody on the Backstage Slam. Mazel to Miss Becky Lynch and her fiance. Well, you know what? I'm just going to say, yeah, Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. They don't need to bring people's government names into it.
Don't confuse people.
Right. So, congratulations. The journey, the road of parenthood is hardly an easy one, especially with the kind of careers you guys have.
I'll admit it, I cried when I watched the full segment on the network.
You wanted to admit that?
Well, it was kind of a combination between, I think it was more Asuka's like genuine reaction to it, because even as Becky was walking out, she was still chanting Becky from the ring.
Yeah, that's the kind of reaction Becky should have had, considering there were no fans. This was definitely one of those moments where 30,000 people would have been a great. And yes,
30,000 people would have been crying.
Overstating it. But it would have been a really nice moment. And when or if Becky gets back, it'll be fun seeing her again. But in the meantime, congrats, guys. You're going to have a baby.
I hope it comes out with red hair.
That would be awesome.
Oh, we went a little long tonight. So, how about this? This has been the Backstage Slam episode number 192. Don't forget to tune in next week to episode number 193, where we reveal our lists of top WWE women. Right now, I don't think we've ever clarified whether it's going to be current or all-time. But we will definitely be posting something on social media to let you know what that decision is. Also, I'm not sure what Amber and Anna's criteria are going to be, but that is something we can also iron out over the week.
There's no criteria. Look, we have our own opinions on this, but her and I are correct. You're wrong. There's no criteria, though.
Yeah, no, it's just whether it's all-time or current or both, it's just our favorites. For whatever reason, we like them in that order.
Well, I am going to ask
Give us criteria
that you explain your choices.
Can I make of 10 people that I dislike also?
Ooh.
10 people or 10 women?
10 women. I can do women. I've got 10 women that I could name off right now that I disliked as champion.
As champion?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. No, we're not going to go into that right now. But next week we can definitely get into this. Next week we'll go ahead and call it, Women of the WWE episode. And yeah, I think that'll be really interesting. Just make sure you're both ready and able to go at 10 p.m.
This is going to be hard.
10 p.m. Eastern next Saturday night, right here at BackstageSlam.com. Anybody want to add anything else before we get out of here?
Feel better, Ben.
Anna?
Ben needs to feel better so I can get back to watching it.
Okay, I guess it's unanimous. Ben feel better?
Well, he needs to feel better. Yes, Ben needs to feel better, but, I enjoy his gaming stream, so he needs to feel better, damn it. Dang it. Darn it.
Well, for Anna, Amber, and myself, this has been the Backstage Slam episode number 192. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back here next week, 10 p.m. Eastern, or BackstageSlam.com.